Robin was a sportscaster for ESPN for 15 years, winning 3 Emmys, and was the first woman to co-host NFL Primetime. We've watched her as a co-anchor on GMA for the past 19 years, and she has many, many honors and awards. So I picked a few to share. Robin was inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Her number 21 jersey is retired at Southeastern Louisiana University. She is one of ESPNW's Impact 25. And she won a Peabody Award for bravely chronicling her battle with MDS back in 2012. And did you know that Be the Match Registry had an 1,800% spike in donors on the day Robin went public with her battle? I think that's what you call raising awareness and inspiration. Now, there's a few more you might not be as familiar with. Robin guest hosted on Jeopardy for 5 episodes. She was an a cappella backup singer in Pitch Perfect 2. And she is only one of 10 an honorary Harlem Globetrotter. So those are a few examples of her successful career. Let's paint the picture with a little bit of her personal achievements, right? She's a loving and supportive daughter, sister, aunt, and 8 months ago became a loving wife to her sweet Amber. She has thousands of adoring fans, including me and everyone in this room. And she is the most down-to-earth, smart, fun, caring, positive person you'd ever want to meet. In fact, if you ran into her on the street in New York City or down south at her favorite getaway of Key West, you'd feel like you were running into an old neighbor or friend. She just makes you feel like she's known you forever. That authenticity and connectivity is what makes her so special and why we're honored and thrilled to have her generously sharing her time with us today. Ladies and a few gentlemen, please welcome Robin Roberts.
Notice how I have to raise this just a little bit. Oh, Lisa, thank you. Thank you so much. She has been speaking the praises of y'all for so many years, and I'm so glad that today is a day that I could be here with you. And I got some ties to New Jersey. My daddy was a Jersey boy. Yeah, he was. Yeah, we lived for a time on McGuire Air Force Base. My father was in the Air Force for 35 years, retired as a full colonel, started his career as a Tuskegee Airman, the first black flying Air Corps in the military. Hey, next time you go to Newark Airport, the road leading to the new terminal is Colonel Roberts Road. Yes, yes. I'm telling you. And it is so wonderful to be back here where I remember, I had these great aunts from South Orange. Robin, you're gorgeous. You're gorgeous. Look at you, gorgeous. Look at you, gorgeous. Oh, it was just so Aunt Vi and Aunt Nani, and it's just, so I look out and I see my aunties. I see my aunties, and I'm so proud of what you're able to do here and how you're able to celebrate the arts and the young ones that were here. And Chancellor Nancy, congratulations on the honor that she has received today. So well deserved. Now, I talk about my daddy, I also got to talk about my mama. They were both the first in their families to go to college. They went to Howard University. My mama, AKA Ski Wee. Any Ski Wees here? Woo! Ski Wee! That's right. Oh, they met and fell in love at Howard University. And I'm so grateful to my mother and father because they laid a very strong foundation for their 4 children. Even though they were very instrumental in education, my mama went on to be on the State Board of Education, chairing that in Mississippi, was on many state and national boards. Education was very important to my mom and dad, but they instilled in their 4 children the 3 Ds. Discipline. Discipline yourself so no one else has to discipline you. Determination. Set those goals and be determined to reach those goals. So discipline, determination, and the third and the most important D, the Lord. The Lord. And that's what they instilled in their 4 children. And I have to say, you can wish, hope, and pray all you want, and I'm a very, very spiritual person, but you have to put yourself in position for good things to happen. Proximity is power. And I learned that primarily through athletics. So Lisa, I really appreciate the accolades, but you forgot to tell everybody that I'm the former state junior bowling champion of Mississippi. Yeah, girl. Oh, but tennis was my true love, though it got me in trouble. I have a broken wrist because of playing tennis last week because I was so determined to make this shot and wouldn't drop my racket. But tennis was my real love. But being as tall as I am, I was encouraged to play basketball. And I dreamed one day I wanted to be a professional athlete. I could see myself at Wimbledon. I would go to these hot, steamy courts in Mississippi where I grew up, and I'd have strawberry and cream melting on the court because I just thought I would make it to Wimbledon one day. But being as tall as I am, I was encouraged to play basketball. But I knew by the time I got to high school, I was not going to be a professional athlete, which I first dreamed of, because you have to have that, ability? I was a little bit lacking of that. So I said, well, you know what? They say, find out what it is that you want to do and find a way to get paid for it. So I said, I'm going to be a sports journalist. I love sports. That's going to be my way of being a pro athlete. And I knew the best way to do that was to get a college education, and for that I needed a college scholarship. I was the tallest on my team in high school, so they needed me to play the post position, but no one wanted a 5'10" post player in college. So on my own time, my senior year of high school, I'd go in that hot, steamy gym in Mississippi and learn how to shoot a sweet 18-footer off glass, not because I wanted to be freshman of the year at Southeastern Louisiana University, which I was, please hold your applause. And I wasn't learning how to go to my left and shoot that same shot because I could be MVP 2 years running at Southeastern Louisiana University. Again, I was putting myself in position for good things to happen. So I'm there at Southeastern Louisiana University, majoring in communications, dreaming of being a sports anchor reporter. And I realized there are a lot of people there at Southeastern who are in communications and having a similar dream. So I know I need to get practical experience. We didn't have internships back in my day. So I went to the local radio station in town in Hammond, Louisiana. I said, I'm majoring in communications. I play on the basketball team. I'd love to be your sports director. So they did some vetting, and they came back to me, and they said, great, yes, you can come in before your 8 o'clock class. You can do play-by-play high school football, basketball, get that practical experience that you'll need in addition to your college scholarship. And I said, oh, great, asking ye shall receive. This is great. And they go, the trade-off is you're going to have to DJ on the weekends. So I'm like, oh, man, come on, DJ on the weekend. Oh, did we tell you? We're a country music radio station. I can remember it oh so well, my friends. WFPR 14 Country, hometown country friends since 1947. Robin here on a Saturday night playing the best in country music. Woo! Yeehaw! Yeehaw! You haven't lived till you scratch a little Merle Haggard on a 100-watt radio station in Hammond, Louisiana. And they could only hear me, they couldn't see me. And Bubba would call on Saturday night and say, you sound pretty, I want you to bring you home to my mom. I said, Bubba, that's not gonna work out well for either one of us. But thank you for listening. So I'm getting the practical experience. I'm there at Southeastern. I graduate with honors, and there are not a lot of people that are beating down the doors to sign someone like me to be their sports anchor or reporter. This is the time before. It's great when you can turn on the TV now and see women sports journalists and not even bat an eye, but that wasn't the case when I was coming along, but I'm so happy it is now. I was receiving full-time offers in news, but I didn't want to do news at the time. I wanted to be a sports journalist. So I received one part-time offer for $5.50 an hour, 30 hours a week, to be the weekend sports anchor in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I didn't hesitate to take that part-time job. I was dreaming big, but focusing small. Wait a minute, I got to focus right here. There you go. Okay, a quick aside, I'll get back to the story. The reason I do that, all right, I'm working at ESPN. My sister Dorothy, huge Tom Cruise fan. She said, if you ever interview Tom Cruise, please let me go with you. And I'm like, I work at ESPN. When am I ever going to interview Tom Cruise? Jerry Maguire. The movie comes out. I've got to interview Tom Cruise. I remember my sister saying this, so I bring her up from Mississippi with my other sister. I'm doing the interview with Tom Cruise. We have a break in a moment, and the cameras go down, so we're sitting around, and he says, oh, my sister, this is Tom Cruise saying, oh, my sister is right there. I'm making segue. Oh, my sisters are right over there. And so, and I said, my sister Dorothy's always wanted to meet you. So he's like very kind. He goes, come on up. So Dorothy comes up. My other sister, she's a news anchor as I am. So when we are standing, the four of us, to take a picture, Sally Ann in news, Robin in news, we are standing there. My sister Dorothy, beautiful social worker from Mississippi, hardworking woman, she's chatting away. So on her refrigerator was a picture of her next to Tom Cruise, like that. So that is why I stop when I see a photographer. All right. You never know, Lisa. So I take the part-time position in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, always dreaming big but focusing small. I went on then to 2 other stations, and then I went to Nashville, Tennessee. I was then offered a job at the worldwide leader in sports. 4 years out of college, I was offered a position at ESPN. You know what I did? I turned them down. I said no. I knew I wasn't ready. And I also knew that someone like me, my margin of error was less than those that I was going to be working with. And I wanted staying power. I didn't want to get to ESPN, I wanted to stay there. And as Lisa said, I did get there because I said no. I went to Atlanta, Georgia, got more experience. You got to know your weaknesses as well as your strengths. And I needed to get stronger. I needed to do more. And I'm so glad that I did, and living in Atlanta, Georgia, and ooh, that was fun. Oh, that was a good time. And then ESPN came calling again. And in 1990, I signed with ESPN. And I made it to Wimbledon. Yes, it was a dream of mine. And yes, I didn't have a tennis racket in my hands. I had a microphone. But it taught me those dreams that we have, they're going to be realized. But they might not quite look like we think they're going to look, but they're going to mean every bit as much. So I was grateful to be there at ESPN. And I was always offered to go into news. And at the time, I didn't want to do it. But then I realized, and do you do this sometimes? I was saying no out of habit. I didn't really feel that way anymore, but I was just so conditioned to saying no when someone offered me a position in news. And then Good Morning America offered me a position, and I went to a dear, dear friend to this day. Maybe you've heard of her, Billie Jean King, okay? And I went to Billie, and I said, Billie, I've been offered this wonderful opportunity at GMA, but I don't know, I think I'm gonna stay at ESPN. And I thought she would be like, oh, you've got to stay with us in sports, right? And she looked at me like, almost like out of that movie, out of Moonstruck, snap out of it. She was like, what are you, of course you can take us with you. She said, you've got to be willing to venture outside of your comfort zone. Think about all the times you've done that. When you venture outside of your comfort zone, that's when, oh my gosh, you realize things that you never thought were possible. So I'm so glad that I did that. And sitting next to initially Diane Sawyer and Charlie Gibson, and the way they embraced me, especially Diane. And then I wrote a book, 7 Rules to Live By. And I went around the country asking folks, and you all should take stock, like, what are your rules to live by? Mine are, you've got to put yourself in position for good things to happen to you. You've got to focus on the solution, not the problem. Dream big, but focus small. Keep faith, family, and friends close to your heart. And so I was going around and asking people what their rules are to live by. And at that time, a dear colleague at the time, Joel, he had colon cancer, and he passed away. And I was asked to come back to do the tribute show for him, and I did. And during that time, I did a piece where his doctor said had he received a colonoscopy at the age of 50 instead of 53, that could have saved his life. And that night, I went home. I was very tired, and I was stretching. And somehow I felt a lump that I had never felt before. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just tired. I had transitioned from ESPN, which is in Connecticut, to Good Morning America and ABC, and sometimes you're a little lax in changing your doctors. But I did have a doctor's appointment for months down the road, and I thought, Robin, what did you just talk about today? Early detection can mean everything. And so I called my doctor. I didn't have a relationship with this particular doctor. It was a new one. And the receptionist was very nice. And I said, I didn't say why I was calling. And I said, I need to move up my appointment. And she said, I'm really sorry. We don't have any availability. And I said, do you know who I think I am? I'm going to call Oprah. What do you mean you can't fit me in? You do. But I thought that. I didn't say it. I said, okay, all right. I went to some of my new colleagues at ABC, Deborah Roberts. And I said, Deborah, again, oh, boy, did you see her at the Met Gala yesterday? Oh, whoo, I got chills just thinking about it. She looked so good. And I said, Deb, I didn't say why I needed a doctor. I said, could you recommend a doctor? And she said, yes, and Dr. Albert Knapp. And I went in for a general exam, seeing the doctor for the first time. Didn't tell him about the lump. Just say, I want a regular, just look under the hood and kick the tires kind of exam. And he was about to leave the exam room, and I said, oh, Dr. Knapp, silly me, I have this lump right here, and it's in an awkward position. And he said, aren't you in the news business? I said, yes, sir. He said, that's called burying the lead. You should have come in saying, I have a lump. I said, and so he checked it out, and he said, you need to go get a mammogram ultrasound. And the mammogram came back fine, but the ultrasound detected that there was a cancerous tumor. I'm so grateful that I listened to myself, and we have to do that. I found it through a self-exam. It is so important to know our bodies, all of us, male, female, know your bodies, and early detection can make the difference. And so I then went on Good Morning America, and I shared my journey. I shared when I lost my hair. And when I lost my hair, we did this special about pushing each other to do things. And I was not feeling my absolute best because I was bloated from chemo and all these things, didn't have a stitch of hair on me. And my colleagues challenged me to be in a fashion show. Yes, Isaac Mizrahi. And so I'm going to be live on GMA. So I have this beautiful red gown that he has made for me, and I have my trusty little wig that had that little anchor flip to it. And I was about to go out on the runway. And meanwhile, every young little model was, walking out looking all cute and everything, Gravity hadn't set in for them. They're all walking out there on the runway. I'm like, mm-hmm. And I'm about to walk out, and I see myself in the mirror, and I just instinctively took off my wig, and I walked out on that runway. And I just wanted, thank you. Thankfully, I have a nice shaped head, so that worked out really well. But I remember a mother reached out to me later and said that she was watching that morning with her young child. And the mother started crying when she saw it. She was happy, she had tears of joy, but she was crying. And she said her child said, Mama, why doesn't Robin have any hair? And the mother was able to have a conversation with her child to explain to her. And she said, heaven forbid, if something should happen to her, she could point to her child and say, remember that woman? Okay, you saw her? Well, that's happening to Mama. She's okay, and Mama's going to be okay too. It's those make your mess your message, folks. Those teachable moments like that. So I'm so incredibly grateful that I've been given the opportunity to do that. And when I was diagnosed with MDS, as Lisa said, I was so grateful that I was able to increase the registry. I didn't realize that only 30% of the time is a family member a match. So 70% of the time, you need a stranger on the registry. And my two siblings, I have three siblings, two were eliminated right away. And only one sister was a possible match at the time, Sally Ann. And so while I'm waiting for the results to come back, I go to Mama and I say, we're waiting for Sally Ann to see if she's going to be a match or not. I don't know. So I gotta ask you a question, Mama. And my mom and dad, they were college sweethearts, and my dad had passed away. And I went to Mom and I said, does Daddy have any more kids out there? Yeah, she didn't think it was funny. Okay, Oh, mercy, no. Hey, fighting for my life now. You know, he was a fly boy, Jersey boy. But thankfully, my sister Sally Ann was a match. And when I gave her the news that she was a match, and I asked her if she wanted to go through with it, and because sometimes people decide not to, and she said, Robin, it's not only something I want to do, it's something I feel I was born to do, to save her baby sister's life. So I'm so grateful that my parents instilled that kind of love in the siblings. So lastly, before I open up for your questions, I want to say put yourself in position, and you are. Look at you. Really, being here, put yourself in position for great things to happen for you. Be willing to make the necessary sacrifices. Always continue to dream big, but to focus small on those day-to-day things that can ultimately get you to your goal. We often talk about self-confidence and self-esteem. It's about self-worth. It's about knowing that you are worthy. And that is something that I know by being here with you today that you absolutely are, but please know that about yourself. So I appreciate you allowing me to share a bit of my story, and I know that we're left time.
Thank you, Robin. So we have time for a few questions.
Please.
If Robin is willing, we have 3 mics that are around the room. Selena is here. Hunter is over there.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Yep, and I think Robin will know what to do. Here, do we have one over here? Oh, okay.
Thank you. What an honor. I had to contain myself from crying a few times, and I'm pretty sure that many of you had the same thing.
Thank you.
My name is Minue Yoshida. What a pleasure to see you today.
Beautiful name.
Thank you. Half Japanese, half Mexican. So in case you're wondering, she looks Asian but speaks funny, so it's because that's how I do. We have been told in the world of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that we should not use the term anymore, DEI, and they want us to change it. And we have found out that it's the people that were uncomfortable with other terms that now apparently we can't use. Because if we stop using what other people are uncomfortable with, apparently they change the narrative, and I refuse to do that, and I want to know from you, what is your take on having to change DEI to make other people comfortable?
Ah, thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Oh gosh, that is such a hot topic right now. And I've often said when I was coming along working, I said, and diversity was the big word then. And I said to folks, I said to my people that were hiring me, I said, thank you. Diversity that's being on the team, inclusion is getting in the game. And that's what I want to be. I want to be in the game. And so once they realized that I wasn't just happy to be on the team, that I had something to contribute. When I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and after I had graduated with honors, had worked in local television for many years, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, as my first big market, and a local reporter did a story on me. And I was doing the interview process. And the reporter, it was a glowing article saying really wonderful things about my talent in that, but referred to me as a twofer. And I was like, I never heard that phone, twofer. So I said, could you hold on a minute? Then I ran to the payphone. This was before cell phones. Ran to the payphone, called my mama, and I said, Mama, I'm doing this interview, and the guy says I'm a twofer. What is that? She said, oh, that means you're a double minority. You're a woman, and you're black. So you're a double minority, and your employer, something. I was like, oh, okay, got it. So I go back to the gentleman, and I agree with him, okay? The article gets picked up, and again, it's a very flattering article. It gets picked up nationally. My brother-in-law in New Orleans read that, and he ripped me a new one. He said, if that person wants to say the reason that you were hired is because you're a black woman, he doesn't know you graduated with honors. He doesn't know the hard work. You never allow that narrative to be said about you. Never. And I always remembered that. I remembered, I was buying into it. And so sometimes we have to ourselves go like, no, 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 no. So how have I been able to do it? With grit and grace. With grit and grace. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We have a question over here.
Oh my God, I'm talking to Robin Roberts.
Hi, Miss Roberts. How are you? My name is Alexa McNeil. I actually was over there, and I wanted to. I'm right over here.
Oh, all right.
I wanted to say hi to you, and then
Sorry,
sometimes I lack. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry. We had another one going, but we'll come back to you in just a moment because
I'm
you got
so
that fierce
sorry.
hat. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? My name is Alexa McNeil. I was saying that I was over there by you saying hello to someone that is, I guess, a family friend. And, you talk about just putting yourself in positions and not being afraid to speak to people or, do certain things. And I just want to say thank you. You're very inspiring in what you've faced. And, you are definitely a voice for many. And really what you spoke to today is about positioning yourself to take advantage, to be in the right rooms and to take advantage of opportunities. Me personally, I am 23 years old. I graduated from undergrad in December, and I'm studying for the LSATs, but I've always been very futuristic thinking, and my issue has always been how to take the steps to get there. I know my end goals, and so I want to, as someone who has lived, who has experienced and talks about putting yourself in positions that are going to further you and get you to that end goal, what is your advice to younger women and even just anyone in this room who, no matter what age you are, even if you're an older woman and you are changing careers, but what is your advice to women, younger women, about chasing your dreams and just putting yourself in these positions? If you can elaborate a little bit on that.
I will, but let me ask you something. Tell me some of the things that you're 23. Oh, Lord. What? Give me your resume. Give me your resume. By that I mean, like, tell me about yourself. Tell me some of what you like in high school and that, and college. Some of your accolades.
So some of the things I did. I went to boarding school when I was 14. So I was always very involved. I was at Pomfret School in Pomfret, Connecticut. I've always been very involved with diversity clubs, leadership roles. In high school, college, I went to American University. I did many different, in DC. And I did a lot of different opportunities that I had. I'd study abroad, all of those things. But in terms of my resume specifically, my dad is a developer, and so ultimately I want to be a real estate developer. It's a family company that we have, and I ultimately want to be a developer, but with a purpose, and I want to combat gentrification and displacement and build affordable housing, luxury affordable housing, and just make more of communities. And so I've worked with my dad for years on and off doing that. I currently work for Essex Community Land Trust. Shout out Brittany Timberlake, one of our New Jersey state senators who I work for at the moment. But that is what I'm doing. I'm putting myself in places because I know that all of the experiences that I have experienced and all the things that I'm doing now are going to give me skills that are going to ultimately apply to make me the best developer that I can be.
And you already have those skills. By everything that you explained up to that point. When I asked for your resume, it wasn't so much what you said, the latter part, which is great. It's what you were talking about in those groups that you were involved in, the work that you did, the boarding school, all those. Success leaves clues, and it leaves clues in our own lives. It's great when I say success leaves clues, and so if you see someone doing something that you want to do, pick up the phone, call, reach out, ask them how they got to where they are. But also know you've already climbed so many mountains to get to where you are right now. So why do you think the mountain ahead of you is any taller than the ones that you've already climbed?
Well, that's the truth.
It's
Yeah,
true.
that's the truth.
So
Yeah.
just apply those same, because you've had goals before, you've had things that you wanted to achieve, and you did it. So apply those same principles to whatever it is that you want going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Thank you very much.
All right, now you're ready. Now you're ready.
One last fabulous question.
Thank you. I'm going to start with a quick
Okay.
comment and then the question. I know that people tell you all the time that you're an inspiration, but I just want to tell you, my husband is disabled, and throughout all of his trials and tribulations, he's watched you on TV, he's followed your career, and when he is down, he looks at you as a beacon of light, and I just want you to know that. And just on that theme, throughout all of the struggles you've had, either in your career, in your health, just having the world accept you as the wonderful human you are, what is your one technique for resilience that you can impart for us?
Oh, my goodness. That is a great, and bless you, and thank you for what you said. And please give your husband my very, very best. Oh, his birthday's tomorrow. All right. You have a phone? I'll do a video for him when we finish here, okay? Yeah, we'll do that. I'd love to do that. Oh, but that is such a great question. Like the one, I'm channeling my dear mama right now. Because I think it's been I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed. I don't discount that one iota. It's been hard. It has been very, very hard. I'm so grateful that my parents I'm an eternal optimist. I'm not a Pollyanna. You know, I know what's going on in the world, but I choose joy. And there is a difference between joy and happiness. Because happiness it's, oh, I got a raise, or so-and-so said yes and we're going out. Joy, and that's a certain note in our lives, but joy is what gets us from one note to the other. Joy is Lisa seeing her grandbaby, her first grandbaby. That's his joy. The baby doesn't have to do anything. She just sees, and she sent those pictures. Oh, she texted them to all of us on the group. Joy. And so when I say I'm an eternal optimist, and I choose that, optimism is like a muscle that gets stronger with use. Get in the habit. Get in the habit of being positive. Get in the habit of expecting good and not something bad to happen. And lastly, thank you. This is the one thing that got me through. When fear knocks, and boy, it comes knocking on all our doors. When fear knocks, I let faith answer the door. Right. So thank you all so very much. Thank you for this time. Ooh, I love your hair. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the fabulous, wonderful.